Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is the Magical Mischief Tour Modpack Pack Prospect. It's a Minecraft 1.16.5 mod pack made by the Mischief of Mice community, and me. So let's get to prospecting and dig in. Let's talk about themes. Now, magic, of course, is a very heavy overtone of the entire mod pack, and it's where the strengths lie. But it's not everything. There are some RPG elements. For example, when you start the pack, you only have 3 hearts, which can be very intimidating and actually, very deadly. But you can quickly level yourself up and gain many more benefits. Or you can decide just not to if you want and go total hardcore. But it also does have like a tech light aspect to it. There are some other mods in here that are non-magic, and that is immersive engineering, immersive petroleum, create, as well as building gadgets. But some of them, specifically building gadgets, is kind of gated a little bit behind some other mod progression. But that's not something that this mod pack is relatively known for. It's pretty much going to be known for being able to play the mods you want to play, mostly the magic ones, the way that they were made. So you don't have a lot of customization where you have to grind through a lot of stuff to get to the end result. So you can actually just choose some of the magic mods if you want. You don't have to touch every single one of them. But heck, it's got so many in there, why not? Next, let's cover the style or focus of the mod pack. Now, it is an open world, and I know that that scares some people because they like to have structure in their modded Minecraft, especially with how much is in there. So, not to worry, there is some structure in there as well. It comes in multiple forms. Of course, you have your achievements that you can go through. That's pretty much default with just about any kind of vanilla or modded setting. Usually there's some kind of achievement guiding, but that's not really the focus. In this case, it's going to give you a quest book or a task book, a book of challenges as it is, and you can use this to kind of bring yourself through a lot of the meat and potatoes of this mod pack. Does it have everything in there? No, it does not. But it does have some interesting aspects and some things you can touch on, and you can do them at your pace, your speed. You don't have to complete one thing to get to another, per se. I mean, unless the mod intends it to be played that way normally. But otherwise, you can go at your own pace. There's different levels of difficulty that's been specified in there, easy, medium, and hard. And of course there's epic levels, which are going to be a bit more grindy in most cases, but hey, it's up to you on how you really want to play it. But there is definitely some structure available to you if you want it. You don't have to play that way. You can play it very open plan. So there's plenty of challenges and suggestions for you to work with. Now, it is also an exploration pack. You are expected, if not enticed, to explore and go to different biomes and dimensions, getting materials and just checking things out for yourself. There is a little bit of mob hunting in here because there are mods like Greek fantasy where it does have some benefits and drawbacks to kind of working with deities. It's pretty interesting, and you may find some shrines around that will probably encourage some more exploration with that. But it's definitely still a really big magic progression, and once you get into any number of the magic mods, you will find yourself becoming much more survivable and much more powerful, because you do start out pretty much weak and you need to get good. So let's talk about the weight of this pack. It's a heavy pack, I'm not going to lie to you. You need a minimum of 6 gigs of RAM assigned to it and your computer. It's highly recommended that you go with 8 gigs of RAM. At the Skynet end of the scale here, it's pretty heavy duty stuff, but you can get away with 6 gigs. Now if you do need to, you can kind of trim off some of the fat by removing a couple mods or disabling them, and that would be better foliage, perhaps dynamic surroundings. These will probably make things a little bit lighter for you, especially on the visual style. If you don't care for the fluffy trees, then you can kind of turn off better foliage yourself. Can you use Optifine? Well, usually I say it's up to you to figure this out, and it really is, but I have known some people to get it to work. You do have to fiddle with some of the settings in Astral Sorcery configs to turn off the sky map to start with. But and I have seen it work with shaders as well, so there is the possibility for that, just no guarantees. Let's talk about the load times. It is a very slow load time. It is very long to wait for, but once you get there, it does have a really nice starting screen, so there's that to look forward to. Is there a server function for it? No, there isn't, because we ran this on our own test servers and we found that there was some mob spam issues where some areas would be extremely heavy with mobs and other mobs would just not come up properly, but this was only in a server setting. In a single player world, everything seems to work just fine. We were not able to determine what issues or mods created this problem. It's up to you if you want to run a server. Stability. I would rate this probably around like an A to F scale. I would give it a B. It's probably pretty darn stable. We really have not had many crash issues, and any that we have had, we fixed or resolved over time. This has been an ongoing thing that we've been working with for some time, and I would say it's in a pretty good state at this point. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in a release. So yeah, there you go. Popularity. Well, this is brand new, and it has not really been, hugely received because it's not a major mod pack, or at least not as of yet. Perhaps it will be in time, I don't know. But it is currently out there on CurseForge. If you search MMT, you'll probably find the mod pack easier than you would trying to find it with any of the other search terms like magical, mischief, or tour. Is the author of note? Well, this is where, do I toot my own horn or not? I make modded Minecraft videos, and yeah, we've got, at the time of this video, over 90,000 subscribers, so I feel that I'm of note, but there is a community-wide effort for this mod pack, so it's not just me. My community, which there's a lot of people that are listed in here, helped to make this mod pack with me because we were trying to find mod packs, couldn't find what we wanted to do, and I was like, you know what, who wants to help me make a mod pack? And there was several people that stepped up to the bat. And you'll probably see their list of names here, which I am very grateful for. Thanks, every single one of you. Is there anti-griefing? Well, to a point. There's the deeds mod, and there's marketplaces. Why is marketplaces in there? Because it's kind of a multiplayer aspect. The market is a very valuable part of this mod pack, as it's used to gain access to many of the restricted items that you otherwise wouldn't be able to craft or make in this mod pack. But it also can be used in a multiplayer aspect. Using deeds, you can protect your own area and stop people from kind of, griefing everything that you need to. So together, they work in a kind of multiplayer way. Is there mod overlap? Heck yes. But it's intended. It's so that you can take your own magical path. And often we were finding that people were not just sticking to one mod, they would kind of progress in one mod and then work through another one or two, getting themselves, several magical mods, working up with a little bit of tech help just to try and make things a little bit simpler and less grindy. So there is plenty of mod overlap, mostly in the magical field, but that's expected because not everybody is going to want to kind of play each of the magical types. And that's the idea here, was so that people could choose their magical path. Are there special requirements or exterior resources or texture packs needed for this pack? No. In fact, they come already baked in, and you have the options of disabling them and turning them off, that in the form of better foliage and dynamic surroundings. Is there a death mechanic? Why, yes, of course. We're using the Enigmatic Graves mod, which really is pretty nice. The only drawback is if you're wearing a backpack that usually is dropped near the grave, and if it's in a very hostile environment or close to bedrock, that could end up getting destroyed. But hey, that's the stuff that you come with. I could not find any kind of grave mod that would keep the backpacks that are available. But on the plus side, you also have Zero's mapping, which there's multiple mods for that. Zero's minimap and Zero's world map. And when you die, it leaves a waypoint so you can find where you're at. Holding the Enigmatic Graves token, it also highlights your exact gravestone. So if you died in some kind of liquid or something like that, you can find a little bit easier. I think you just have to be within so many blocks before it highlights. Then you just right click it or use your token to click on it, and you get all your stuff back just in the spots that they were. Though maybe not everything, like I said, you're going to have to find your backpacks. Let's talk about World Gen. So with this, it definitely includes the vanilla biomes, but with some of the prettier mods like dynamic surroundings and better foliage, it does kind of fluff that up a bit and make it look a lot prettier day or night. Now on top of that, there are many new biomes because of we've got the biomes you go, we've got mystical world, we've got multiple mods that add in their own biomes. There's a lot in there. Plus there's a significantly new number of structures that you would not normally find in Minecraft alone. So these are some of the more interesting things. In fact, we've got like a library from Feywild. We've got all sorts of different illager outposts and villages. It's kind of interesting to go out and discover these things. Caves. Yes, we've got a lot of Young's Cave World Gen, as well as some of the bridges and other structures like that from the Young's mod series. And the caves were customized specifically so they would have occasional lighting in there. Now, funny enough, this actually was created well before the 118 snapshots came out, or the 117 stuff was actually being released, and it just kind of came along parallel with it. But you will find some light sources down there and a lot of danger, as well as perhaps even rare finds like little pools of starlight hidden rarely in amongst those areas. And that's just the overworld. There's plenty of dimensions as well. Let's talk about the difficulty. To start with, it's going to be mobs, because there are plenty of mobs in there that are going to be trying to kill you constantly. Some of them will even track you down and follow you, so beware of any kind of jungle cats. But otherwise, you'll find lions and tigers and bears, and oh my, they will kill you. But if you get good, like I said, get into some magic mods, start taking things a little bit safer, keep yourself, out in well-lit areas and light up your caves, you should be doing all right. Now, once you get into it though, all those mobs will suddenly just become very easy to overcome, and you'll start looking into finding bosses. Now there may be some chain events in this that will actually lead you to some things. Now what I mean by that is crafting chains, and it's only if you want to go that path. You don't have to. There's a mod in here called Caged Mobs that allows you to get mob drops. Now, I'm using this one as an example. There's also building gadgets that I think we do this with, and a little bit on the marketplace from Kalemi's Utils. But it's encouraging you to go to multiple dimensions, locations, mods, and so on to create these items that are very, very cheaty and not required for you to progress, but can make things a lot simpler and at least more interesting just by going and exploring these areas and or items. Now, learning, that's probably the biggest curve in here. If you don't want to read the little manuals that these mods come with, you're probably going to struggle a bit. There are videos. I've done lots of videos on a lot of the stuff that's in this mod pack. Not everything, because there's well over 200 mods in here. But you're welcome to use those as well as any other resources that you so desire to try and do this. But there isn't a huge amount of teaching going on in this mod pack. Though if you do follow the Book of Challenges, it can definitely take you through a good portion of it, at least until you get into the very difficult stuff, which then is up to you to try and experiment and figure out. That's why it's difficult. Let's talk about mobs. This includes regular vanilla mobs, as well as your vanilla plus mobs, which, kind of are similar to vanilla. But there's also a lot of new animals, mostly dangerous, but some of which are very cute and helpful. There's also a lot of new creatures and mobs that are going to try and kill you in general that are not just animals. And there's a ton of little mini bosses as well as regular bosses for you to fight. Let's talk about dimensions. There's, of course, the overworld, which we've talked plenty about. And of course, there is the Nether, which has been modified and changed so that it's a bit more interesting, and includes some mini bosses that you may want to be looking for in order to get their loot and gear. There's also an upgraded and prettier looking end dimension, but more importantly is the Undergarden. This one here is its own special dimension which has a lot of interest in it. It's got some pretty cool stuff, and there's also the UAD, or Ultimate Amplified Dimension. This basically takes that ultimate amplified setting on Minecraft and takes it to the next level. This dimension is not required for you to go into at any time, but if you do decide to go into it, you will probably really, really enjoy it. It's just so pretty, especially if you have some method of flight or just a way of using grappling hooks or bridges to get around. And probably one of the lesser known ones, but everybody has heard of it, is going to be the Good Night Sleep mod. Adds in 2 dimensions, the good dreams and the nightmares, which pretty much has some points of interest. Nothing really major in there, but there are some things that you might want to explore in order to get some of the special goodies that you'd like to create to make your life a little easier later on. Let's talk about tools, armor, and progression of them. Well, you've got your vanilla sets, and you've got advanced vanilla sets, and you've got some new ore variants, which can make things a little bit more interesting. But you've also got your magical armors and tools and weapons. You also have Tetra in here, which gives you kind of a realistic or tech-light version of Tinkers, if you will. And it's basically modular tools, so you can upgrade your tools that you want, or your weapons, or your shields, or whatnot. But there's also mob drops. You can get special weapons and armors, or even the ingredients for those from different mobs. Let's talk about building options. Now, of course, you have your vanilla stuff, and you have a lot of variant blocks in this. Because there's so many magic mods, as well as a few others, you are going to be getting a ton of really pretty blocks to choose from. As far as building tools, well, you've got your regular and light versions, perhaps with Quark adding a few in, but you do have building gadgets in here, which is not required in any case for you to pursue, but if you really want to, you can. Not to mention, a lot of the magic mods do have a lot of building options in them. Specifically, Astral Sorcery has a bunch of really cool wands that can lead you along your way and progress you towards getting some of the building gadgets items. Now, there are some specific mods in here that also take advantage of building options. We added in a few of those just to make things a little bit easier for those that want to make a really pretty place. Now let's talk about inventory options. A lot of the time people think Magic Pack, they think I am not going to be able to store my stuff. Well, you might struggle a little bit at the beginning, but there are multiple different backpack sets, there are different sacks. You even start out with a shulker version of a sack to start with that gets you on your way to getting a better backpack. And you can upgrade that further, collect different versions, even get super satchels as it is. But beyond that, you can get into occultism, which really has a lot more than just inventory storage, but it really excels in inventory storage. It gives you kind of a refined storage or applied energistic style crafting and or storage system, but with a magic twist that uses a few entities to try and accomplish your tasks. It also works interdimensionally and is really cool to use. Let's talk about maps. Now, you of course have your vanilla options, which are boring and plain, but there is also your Zero's minimap and your Zero's world map. Both of these can be used together to create different waypoints, view areas, dimensions, even expand your minimap to make it a bit bigger or customize it to your liking. So let's go into the things of note. Now, this is actually a pretty big category here. There's plenty to go over. Bounty boards. This is the heart and soul of a lot of this mod pack. You can get a lot of really good stuff by completing the bounties. They have been highly customized for this mod pack. I encourage you to give it a go. Put in a new decree and see what different rewards you can get. Specifically, you can get some wings from this one, which you've been seeing me fly throughout this video so far. Markets and money. You need to earn money from the bounty boards in order to make and buy things from the market. Once you have a market, you've got a lot of things you can actually sell to it to earn more money, or use that money to unlock trinkets. These trinkets are passive or active, if desired, abilities that you can put in your trinket slot. Now, you only have 2 of them to choose from at any given time, but you can unlock any number of them in the market. Immersive engineering and immersive petroleum. Now, these are your main sources of creating power in the entire mod pack. And that's only good because there are some other things in there that you might want to take advantage of, like scannable. That's pretty important for finding things super easy in most areas. You can find creatures, objects, and so on. Create. This will just give you a ton of really cool and immersive vanilla double plus options. It also uses a lot of ways that you can move your items or liquids as desired, Now the challenges or checklist or task book, however you want to call it, because it's called all three of them to be honest, is going to be really key if you want to get some kind of progression going. If you're a little bit lost or you just want some things to do, look in the book and you can just check off things that you've completed and look for things that you want to do. Wings. This is probably one of my favorite mods of all time and is now using potions instead of trinket slots. So you drink a potion, and as long as you don't die, you can keep using these wings. And of course, the only way to obtain these is through bounties in bounty boards, so be aware of that. Weirding gadgets. This will keep a 3x3 chunk area loaded while you're no longer in that area. So if you need to keep something going while you're off adventuring and exploring, feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can just wear it on your head. The shrink mod. You can shrink some mobs and put them in bottles to take them home. Alternately, you can make yourself big or small. It's up to you. Botany pots. As opposed to caged mobs, it's the one that will more or less get you things for trees as well as crops and so on. You can use it to just grow the different crops that you need and want in botany pots. Crockpot and Farmer's Delight. These are two wonderful food mods that are included in here. They have two different mechanics that are very similar and can give you a ton of different buffs that are better than just filling your hunger bar. So I highly recommend that, and especially since some of the more difficult recipes to make can earn you some money in the market. Magic mods. Well, there's a ton in there, but the ones that are most focused on in this pack are going to be Astral Sorcery, Evil Craft, Elemental Craft, Mana and Artifice, Ars Nouveau, Occultism, and Tomes. Now, like I said, there are more than just this, but these are the ones that are mostly focused on in the pack. And the last thing of note, Castle in the Sky. It's a fabulous mod that adds in this huge and beautiful structure that is kind of interesting to get to and really well worthwhile, provided you can survive the experience. Now, let's talk about things that this mod pack is missing and or needs. It would really be nice if it had a lesser load time and it was lighter weight so that more people could play it. Better quest organization would be nice. There is something to say about being able to click on a menu option and just, see everything visibly and click where you want. And the last thing, it would be nice to have a bit more in-game direction or teaching, specifically probably through quests for some of the magic stuff specifically, but only some of that was taken care of with the Book of Challenges, and hopefully people won't complain too much and are just able to watch some videos if they need to. Is this mod pack unique? I would like to think so, yes. I find it very fun and magical feeling and or looking. It allows you to do what you want with magic mods without gating it, unless, of course, you go with something a little more techy, but hey, that's your choice. But it also gives some directional options in challenges. It gives exploration, there's silliness, there's bosses. The progression feeling from 0 to hero once you get into some magic mods is really, really, kind of tactile. It feels good once you've started getting into a magic mod and you're not dying every few moments anymore. So my summary, the write-up for this, the Magical Mischief Tour mod pack is a challenging magical exploration pack with a bit of silly fun added in. You get to play the magic mods the way they were made instead of having to grind through every mod in the pack to make the item you wanted from the one magic mod to progress. I personally have had a lot of fun and have learned a lot while making this pack with our community. Is it perfect? No. But it is a ton of fun and can be a great exploration mod pack for the worlds, a pinch of tech, dimensions, and of course, magic. I'll be starting up a Let's Play of this pack soon, so keep your eyes peeled. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, stop by on Twitch, click the notification bell on either platform, and until next time, I'll see ya.